Hi, I'm David Shah. Welcome to Weight Loss Exposure. Today's video is all about breakfast and how what people consider to be a conventional breakfast is, in my opinion, a huge stumbling block to any goal regarding weight loss, health and vitality improvements and the like. On a deeper level, I think that at least in part, the conventional breakfast that people are eating, and there are many people in this position, are actually causing the very problems that people are facing now, so obesity and ill health, etc. The conventional foods I'm talking about should be pretty self-explanatory. I'm talking things like breakfast cereals, cereal bars, toast with maybe some jam or some kind of spread, butter or whatever it might be, fruit, tea, coffee, store-bought juices. Everything on that list and a whole bunch of other things that could be included that you might be thinking of have one thing in common, and that is that they're very high in carbohydrates, which are broken down easily into glucose into the body, whether it's then coupled with additional sugar, added sugar from sucrose, or whether that carbohydrate comes from the fruit in terms of fructose. The bottom line is the same. All of these products are very high in carbohydrate and offer little in nutritional balance with regards to protein and fat. If I take fruit out of the picture for the moment, I can then go on and build on that even more and say that everything on that list that remains is heavily processed. So again, processed food, usually void of nutrient, high in carbohydrate, high in energy. So you have the same a mismatch or imbalance of nutrient. And then final step to that is that some of those are grain-based products, largely grain-based products, so wheat and oats and other types of grains. And again, those are largely nutritionally void, which makes them high in energy but low in nutritional density. So add all these individual factors together, and what people are doing is consuming their breakfast that is in reality a cocktail of sugar and carbohydrate that's broken down very, very quickly to blood glucose. I've added fruit in there for that reason alone. I'm not even for a moment suggesting that fruit is not wholesome and good for you, but it's all about how foods are eaten. So fruit in the context of breakfast, whether it's in isolation to just a piece of fruit or a couple of pieces of fruit on its own, or as part of something else in that list, only goes to build that dominance of carbohydrate heavy foods that cause that imbalance in nutrient profile. And for a lot of people who do eat this way, having eaten that combination of any of the things on that list or other things that you might be thinking of, you might then go on to feel tired very quickly, hungry again very quickly, craving sweet sugary foods, feeling irritable, and so on and so forth. And they're all symptoms of what I consider to be mismanagement of blood sugar. And I know I've spoken about this in previous videos and written about it in previous articles, but that is just how important it is to the fundamental ability of the body to maintain optimal health and vitality, but also to manage body weight. So when people are eating these conventional breakfast foods under the impression that maybe that's what they should be eating, or out of convenience, or even a combination of the two, then they're really setting themselves up for a day that starts completely on the wrong foot. And to me, that is why I consider, and that is why the notion of breakfast being the most important meal of the day is 100% valid in my opinion. Because as I said, if you get this wrong, then you get into that cycle of peaking in blood sugar level from consuming all that sugar to then crashing pretty much straight afterwards, to then looking for a pick-me-up that is usually sugary in nature again to get you back into a state of function, and it just continues throughout the day. So that makes it very hard to be on any kind of healthy lifestyle when you're driven by your cravings and by your mismanagement of blood sugar. Let alone the ill health that can and does come about from that process over the long term. And at the moment, I've only spoken about the effects of these conventional breakfast foods on blood sugar level mismanagement, but I can go on and speak about how these grain-based products, which are a large part of breakfast, are really detrimental to digestive function. They are the cause of many intolerances within the body and bloating within the gut. Also, they are linked heavily to something called leaky gut syndrome, and that in particular, leaky gut syndrome, is what I will write and discuss in my next article and video. But I just wanted to highlight that it isn't simply a matter of mismanaging blood sugar levels, which is, you know, a massive factor in itself. But with the dominance of these grains within a lot of these products, comes a whole host of very, very hugely negatively impacting consequences in themselves. So what do I suggest people eat? Just like an animal in the wild wouldn't change their diet based on the time of day it was, why do we as humans think that it is at all necessary? It isn't, and it's completely against what we should be doing, because people are eating non-foods in the name of something that's considered breakfast when it's just another time of day. So in the same way I've spoken about eating real foods to sustain health and vitality and to get the body you're looking for, it applies in this situation as in no different a way. So that is foods that occur in nature with minimal processing. Does that mean you have to prepare foods and be more considerate to what you eat in the mornings? Yes, absolutely. But I think it's time well spent, quite frankly. Now people say, well, I can't manage or even consider eating, you know, say, for example, lamb chops for breakfast, or meatballs and stir-fried vegetables, or whatever it might be. And to that I say, that is largely a mental construct secondary to what might then be a biological and physical challenge. It is going to be a challenge, but I would much rather a client, and I say this often to clients, I would much rather a client have one mouthful of real food, nourishing food, well nutritionally balanced food, than eat a whole big breakfast of junk, all the non-foods that I've listed earlier, and the conventional breakfasts that people are having. Because at least that way your body will adapt and normalise over time, but you're not setting yourself up for a day full of challenges and bodily stress, which is hugely detrimental to health and well-being and to your goal of losing weight. In fact, stress is the very cause of weight gain in itself. So as challenging as it might seem to really change what you eat for breakfast, you must know that it's absolutely vital to your success in terms of losing weight if you're already trying to, or to really managing your weight to begin with, and your health and vitality. Take it one day at a time. One mouthful of real food is far better than a whole bowl full of junk and garbage. So give yourself time. It will take time for a lot of people, but that is thoroughly what I endorse with every one of my clients, is that they get away from the conventional breakfast and the conventional thinking behind what should and shouldn't be eating for breakfast, and embrace real food at all times of the day. As always, the article to this video will be in the info box below. There'll be a lot more detail in that article. You can even click through to other relevant articles that I've spoken about today, such as talking about non-foods and what real foods are, blood sugar management, etc. So really start to expand your thinking of what breakfast is all about. It's just another time of the day. It's not a special time for a special type of food. If you do that and you can get into that sooner rather than later, then you really will start to reap the benefits of that. I have no doubt whatsoever. Thanks for watching.